Hey guys, long time. Welcome to a whole new episode of Los Piña Bros.
In video.
Los Piña Bros. And we're here, all three of us, to talk about everyone's favorite show right now.
What's that?
You don't have to look at the camera.
Yeah. You're not selling something.
We're going to talk about, we're talking about Taylor Swift's, what's the new movie she on her Disney Plus? No.
Oh, movie? I thought album.
Oh, she has she has that album with 30 songs that are all the same, right? I don't know.
I don't
Jeez.
care.
No offense to
Yeah,
Swifties.
now they're gonna hunt
God
us down.
damn,
Wow.
just like the mutants. See,
Yeah.
segue. All right. Well, this episode is being brought to you by because our one of our faithful listeners, Bebel, was like, "When the hell are you guys gonna do another episode?" So we figured we'd talk about X-Men because X-Men has been pretty much on the forefront for the last couple of weeks for us. So we figured we'd just talk about what we've been liking, what we thought about it when it was announced, and what we think is going to happen because there's only a couple of days left before the season finale of Tolerance's Extinction Part 3. So, yeah, we'll see. I'm Mondo. I'm here with...
Alberto 333.
Mr. Pina Zombie.
Or Swolvaclops.
Marvel Man.
Marvel Man. Oh, Marvel Combo Man.
Yeah.
From the 90s. Because the 90s are back. Combo Man. Yeah. Where he's just like a third of... Not even a third. But it's just like, oh, that was terrible.
What do you mean? It was the best.
Yeah. When we had to figure out, I was like, is that Punisher? That's Deathlock? That's Cyclops? Gambit?
Got some Hulk in there.
You got a whole... Yeah. Yeah.
You want to explain what you're talking about? Because I'm sure...
They don't... I don't even know what I'm talking about.
You know.
Yeah.
There was this ugly, stale pretzel thing that was in a cube shaped with dry, dirty cheese in the middle. It was called Combos. Do they even sell that anymore?
I think so.
Yeah, they have combos.
I'm sorry, Combos, but goddamn, you stale.
Christian actually bought a whole package of them for Rafa because Rafa was like, I don't know what a combo is. And
That's how we talk. I don't know what
yeah, and then Christian was like, what the? I'm going to give you some, man. And he sent him a whole care package. Yeah, of combos. And there was every single day of the week, just... What are you doing, Rafa? I mean, those combos.
Combo, motherfucker.
Yeah. But if you read comics in the 90s, there was this one page where it was like a team up with Marvel, and they were like, if you eat combos, you'll be a character called Combo Man in a Marvel comic. I don't even think that ever happened.
It just gave people heart attacks.
Yeah. I think the combos were made out of 100% lead, I think.
They're Superman proof.
Everything's a joke, by the way, we don't want to get sued, you know? So, but yeah, no, X-Men, you want to get right into it? What did you guys think when we first heard of X-Men? I think this was announced 2 years ago, and it finally came out after us not thinking it would ever come out. I was excited for it. I really liked the initial drawings they had put out, and I was probably just expecting more of the same of the 90s cartoon because I was a big fan of that. But god damn, they've been killing it with this show.
Okay, well, let me stop you right there. That's just those were your before.
Yes.
Right? And, I want to say, I thought it was going to suck. I saw the drawings and it doesn't look that good, and the animation, I'm sure, is going to be subpar. Just like anything else they put out, it's not going to wow me, and it's probably just going to be a cheap, I'm Wolverine, and he's probably going to be
nostalgia
the main
grab.
Yeah, but that's what I thought. How about you?
No, so I guess both. I mean, I was happy that they were bringing it back. That's pretty awesome that they would bring back something that's so old. But yeah, I also didn't like the animation styles, but I also thought, Spectacular Spider-Man, I hated the animation style for that. It looked terrible when they first came out, but then watching the show, I was like, oh, okay. With simpler animations, you can make cooler battles. So I was like, okay, that's cool. But yeah, I also didn't think, because Marvel's been on their weak streak of terrible, terrible things. All their shows have been subpar. Their movies have been subpar.
Loki season 2 was probably the last thing I enjoyed from Marvel in the last couple of years.
That was good. That was pretty good. And no one had to carry that, even with that woman beater, alleged woman beater.
What? Oh.
Jonathan majorly
Jeez.
He always looks surprised when they take a photo. Huh? Me?
That's how he looked when he got arrested too.
No.
Wow.
But yeah, no, I was hoping for the best, but expecting the worst.
Yeah. I think we're all in agreement. It turned out to be amazing.
Yeah. Because I remember when the trailer first came out, I was already in freaking tears when I just heard Cyclops go like, "To meet my X-Men," and I was like, "Oh my god, it's so beautiful!" And you're like you text it's like, "Looks cheap."
Yeah.
Look, I'll say this: it does look cheap in some parts. They do definitely cheap out, but then when I don't know what they do, if it's just like a normal 2D animation, and then when they get to the really like crazy parts, they put in the 3D models.
Yeah, there's moments where you can tell.
But it's, and I get it, animation is expensive and you're trying to find better ways to do it, but more efficient ways. But I'll still say this, I think the intro looks bad. There's something about it that looks like the frame rate it's not smooth like from the original one. But that's just a little nitpick. I think they've exceeded my expectations, and I think this is one of the best things I've ever seen. They did the series justice and then some.
Yeah, I mean, going back to the animation thing, like what Alex was saying was, and we've read this before, it's that a lot of the things they do, people would prefer to be like angular animation compared to like what they call like the soft, rounded, muscular type of characters from the 90s, because angular animation like Batman the Animated Series kind of popularized that, and like Spectacular Spider-Man was very angular, and it's to make the animation run smoother, and like you get the great Spectacular Spider-Man versus Sinister Six battle, but when you do this, that's what I enjoyed from the 90s X-Men cartoon, was it looked like the comic book come to life. Even though I watched a cartoon show, because I didn't know anything about X-Men until the cartoon came out. But yeah, no, you're right. The thing that's impressed me the most has been the writing of this show. You can tell that the writers we're fans of the original show, because everything they're using now has been built on the first 5 seasons of the 90s show. And, Bo DeMayo, who was the head writer, you can tell that he cares about the characters. And, him going with, we don't know what's going on with him. He was fired like 2 weeks before the show started, and it's going on. And, and you can go online and see what might have caused that. But, like, I mean, as long as he's not some sort of serial killer or something, like, damn, man, that dude.
Pedophile.
Well, I hope not. I mean, again, we're not saying that or whatever, but we're just, like, I respect his writing. Like, I hate to say, like, I think I was telling Alex earlier, is like, as much as Joss Whedon might be a dick, like, I loved his writing.
Yeah,
like,
sometimes you gotta separate the art from, I don't know, it's definitely hard, I guess.
Yeah, but it's like, like I said, we don't know much about what's going on or why he was fired, but I can tell that him, and his staff of writers really care. The only thing I think, and maybe we can go into it a little later, was, I felt like, even though the show's writing is so tight, I feel like it would be nicer if there was more time for the writing to breathe. Just because I feel like there's so much packed into 30 minutes that it's kind of hard to, like, I kind of just want to see little simple interactions with the characters, just to get more character-based stuff.
I mean, I haven't had as much an issue with that, except for the Jubilee, when she was in the Mojo world. Mm-hmm. That moved real quick, and the storm with Forge, that I think should have had an episode all to itself, because it was so important. She lost her powers, and then almost immediately gets them back.
She had 2 episodes, I guess.
Yeah, 2 halves to make one, but I still felt like it moved so fast.
Yeah.
But I still think it's done great. Everything just comes together. And some of the stuff they do, like, I honestly don't remember Storm and Jean having that much of a relationship. But in here they're just like sister, like yeah, and I love you, and man,
have them mind your
what you
weather.
need.
Have them weather your mind.
God, that line is so like
it's
perfect.
great.
How do you think of it? I don't know. It's just
Because they're fans.
Yeah, I mean that has to be it. It's so perfect, and to see them interact so much, they're a family, and I don't know. It's I get angry at how good it is.
Yeah.
Like man.
Well, that's what Alex was saying. We were talking about is that he's like, I don't remember their like Jean and like Aurora being that sisterly together, because in the '90s show it would always be Rogue and Storm.
Yeah.
And it would all be like Cyclops and Jean. And so
Wolverine and Jean.
Yeah. Oh, I'm waiting for you. It's like, stop it, restraining order. But yeah, no, I mean, but I was telling Alex that relationship comes from like straight from the comic books. The things that I've been reading, the original like Uncanny X-Men run by Claremont and Bernie, and that relationship is there. Like Storm and Jean, because Rogue didn't come out until like way later, until like the mid to late 80s. So that relationship is based off of the comics. And that was something I enjoyed in regards to the writing. Was Storm always was my favorite female X-Man. And when you compare her to like the comics, in the comics she's a little bit more freer. Whereas in the cartoon she was always very, very noble, very like astute, very just like, you know, I am the mistress of the elements. But here you can see there's now like a freeness to her, which I really enjoy watching. And I think I told you guys, is like, I feel bad for Halle Berry. Because I like Halle Berry, but they didn't give her anything to do in those X-Men movies.
But she got to play Catwoman later. She made up for it.
Yeah, we don't talk about that. She don't talk about that.
Maybe one day we'll talk about it.
Yeah, but it's...
She accepted the award for that.
The Razzie?
Right?
Yeah, so it
Yeah,
takes balls. Yeah, you know.
I just wanted to piggyback on that. Like, I think the movies just saw, Wolverine, well, make it about him. Make it about him.
Yep.
Make it.
Yep.
And this show just goes to show that every character is special, and you can do so much with them, and the fans are gonna love it if you do it justice.
If you notice watching this show, Wolverine's in the back. He's in the background.
Yeah.
He has, and he had a bunch of episodes dedicated to him in the original show. The last X-Men cartoon that came out years ago was called Wolverine and the X-Men. You know, and this, he's back to being like a team player. Like, I would say the main characters of this show have been like Magneto, Cyclops, Storm, and kind of like Jean and Rogue. I think all the characters are getting focused on the right amount. This is a team show, and we're focusing on all the characters that might have been sidelined in other like projects, and that's something I've enjoyed. What about you?
I don't know.
I mean, you're wearing the Cyclops. You're wearing the Cyclops guy.
All right, end of podcast.
Yeah.
End it. Over.
No, I mean, yeah, the biggest complaint I had with the show was, it needs to be longer, like 40-minute episodes, because it's beat after beat after beat after beat after beat, and it's like, hold on for a second, just wait 1 second, because you keep ramping up, and it's just like, I know you're jam-packing everything in this episode, but sometimes it just gets ridiculous. Like, I think the most obnoxious one for me was like, Magneto he EMP'd the whole world or whatever. And then Wolverine's like, he declared World War III. I wish the professor would... Boom! Professor's... Well, the professor is here. Like, really? Like, it just so happens that everything is happening right after the other. And it's like, you just need to hold on for a second. Like, even I feel like when Magnus takes out that adamantium from Wolverine, it just needs to breathe a second. For a second. Like, let me see him, like, in pain, just kind of like a still.
Give us Wolverine's reaction. Wait, what are you doing?
Yeah, something. Just a little bit of that would make a lot of difference. So that has been my biggest complaint. The sound was another big complaint. Like, even that was cool when, in one of the episodes, it was the one before this one, I think, is they launched Wolverine into the sky. and then he's killing all these Sentinels coming down. He's even doing the tornado claw from Marvel vs. Capcom. Tornado claw! Yeah. Killing all these Sentinels on his way down.
Just said it.
Yeah, yes. I would have been down for it. And it was cool looking, but it didn't sound that great. Yeah. Like, the music wasn't up to par, the sound effects weren't up to par. And then when he's fighting alongside Nightcrawler, or he's like, no, my friend, you have 9 reasons. And then he comes out with the swords. That looks awesome. The fight looks awesome, but you don't hear any of it. Just kind of like,
yeah,
like where's the sound?
There was a little bit. Yeah, that was a little.
Make complaint. It clash. Make it huge. So those have been my biggest complaints. But other than that, yeah, the best thing I think that they've done is that they have sidelined Wolverine. They told him, hey, just chill out over there. He has his
moments.
Yeah, he has moments, and I think that's all you need.
Great. Like, he wasn't there at Genosha, which he would have survived that if he was there, so that you could have totally put him in there and, like, had him get, like, blown up. But they said, no, we're not going to put him in there. He wasn't there when Executioner was beating everybody up at the trial or whatever. He could have been there at huge moments, and they're like, no, he's fine over here.
We're going to wait.
Yeah.
And, like, that's really great. I mean, I think they did miss an opportunity with him, like, going crazy. I want him to go berserker rage on someone who's like, I wasn't there at Genosha. I wasn't there at the trial. Now you're gonna feel all 6 reasons why I'm gonna... You know, like, that would have been awesome. So, yeah, they're doing... I mean, it's a great show because it's deciding to make X-Men a family, as opposed to, here's Wolverine. Enjoy Wolverine.
Yeah.
And it's great, because...
Have Cyclops die off screen for no reason.
I mean, he did look awesome in there, too, though. It was like, that's awesome. It's such a great show because it's doing something that I always hated about, like, when people would talk about X-Men, they would always be like, oh, it's Wolverine. Wolverine's the best. Or he's, like, up there in the same title as, like, Batman. Oh, Justice League, oh, Batman. I'm gonna go see Batman. Oh, I'm gonna go see Wolverine. I gotta see Wolverine. Yeah. And it's like... No, there's so much more to the X-Men, and everyone always, like, shat on Cyclops, always the Boy Scout, like they do for Superman. And he's a badass. He's so cool. Hey, I'll see you on the ground, idiots. Let's go, boom! He makes it himself. He doesn't need any help. Yeah. He's awesome. And they're all awesome. Like, every single character has depth. Every single character, you want them to succeed. And that is why you feel for every single character when they lose somebody. Like, even the villains are fantastic. I mean, Magnus is the villain, but he's,
there's more to him than just, the bad guy.
I think Magneto is probably my favorite character of this season. In the show, yeah. I think he's more honorable in the animated show than he is in the live action ones.
What do you mean? He saw his best friend die, and then he says, Charles always wanted to build bridges.
Yeah. Well, that was the thing about Ian McKellen, because I love Ian McKellen, but, like, the way they used him as a character, like, Mystique was his right-hand woman, and then when she gets the cure in X-Men 3, it's like, whatever.
So beautiful once.
And it's like, dude, like, for real? Like, you're just dropping her at the drop of a hat, you know? Like, he's so manipulative, I think, in those movies, that he'll do whatever he will for his race. And screw his friends. Screw the mutants, he'll do that. Whereas I feel like this Magneto, like, I think in the beginning people were like, oh yeah, when Storm in episode 2 loses her powers, they're like, Magneto planned it. He knew that was going to happen. And it's like, no. Like, I'm like, you feel when he takes the UN judges and Executioner and he takes them, like, off, into orbit, and you see, like, that one scene where he's, like, just a tear falling from his face because he's so hurt that a fellow mutant has been... hurt protecting him, and he's like, please
do not let me let you down.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, and again, it goes to the writing. It's just like, I love Magneto. He's nuanced. He is somebody who has seen the worst that humanity has to offer. He is a Holocaust survivor, and that comes into play. And in the 90s, you couldn't say that, he was a Jewish person who survived the, World War II, survived the Holocaust. And in here, they bring it out. And that's why he, like, distrusts humans. He wants to protect the mutants at all costs. So when episode 5 comes around, the Genosha Mutant Massacre, or whatever you want to call it.
Like Gambit.
R.I.P. Gambit. Oh, this
what
guy.
do we call him? Post-Genosha.
Post-Genosha Gambit. Buy it now. $99.99. Comes without leg. And like when he's about to like get murdered with the Morlocks, and then he tells the little mutant boy Leech, like, you know, in German's like, do not be afraid. And it's like, we saw this character who was a bad guy, wanted to do good, following the footsteps of his friend, and, you know, and try to walk on the side of angels. And no matter what he does, he gets screwed over, and he's proven right time and time again, to the point where it's like Magneto was right. And I think that's something that I think the movies might not have done so well. Not to say that there weren't moments in the movies, because there's moments where Fassbender's character I love, especially in the First Class, where there's like the moment where he remembers his mother, and that's how he's able to like use his power so it's full effect. But I feel like the animated show gets it on a whole nother level that maybe the movies did not. But yeah, no, I mean, Magneto's just been great. I don't agree with him, but I see his point. So
I agree with him.
President Kelly agreed. Like, well, I don't know. We've been screwing him up. I don't know.
How do you guys feel going back into this? I guess like with the characters, because most of the characters, the actors came back.
I think the only voice I had an issue with was Magneto. It just didn't sound right. But in the most recent episode,
it's because he got his new suit. He got his old suit back.
Yeah, I was thinking like, what? Is it possible that was someone else? But I don't know. I don't know what happened to make him sound more like him.
He was probably just trying to sound different with the new suit, just being more like nice. This is me, is like putting on the mask of like the good Magneto for Professor X. And now that he's back to Magnus, well, you gonna get it.
Yeah, you go. Yeah.
I do remember that being the most, because the actor that played Magneto in the animated series always had that regal, like, European voice, even though they're all Canadian. But when I heard his voice in the trailer, I was like, oh, no, they got him wrong. Yeah. But then, like I said, when he delivers that speech in the UN second episode, like, he won me over. But then, and then you had mentioned, like, he sounds a lot like the original Magneto. Like, his cadence and just overall, like, his I had no problem with it. I was like, oh, shit, like, he went back. Like, I don't know what he did.
Every episode, I think I've had a great experience with.
Even the Mojo episode, which everyone hates.
You know, I still like it. It has its moments. I don't think they're as strong. I can see them being, like, webisodes. You know, something side to the side, you know. But they're still fun, like, you know, when they showed them, like, in 16-bit or something like that. Like, that, perfect. It looks perfect. That's why I'm upset that they haven't remastered a game or done a new game or something like that. But every episode has been a joy.
Going into this season of X-Men, who did you think was going to be the villain?
I didn't think there was going to be a villain they were building up to. I just thought they're dealing with the X-Men and seeing what they're doing day to day. So I really liked the Executioner and how that episode made me feel things, because it was just like, what was it, January 6th when they stormed the Capitol?
Yeah.
And so that was exactly like that. And then when this fucking asshole starts saying, like, stop making it about you, like, you mutants aren't special, like, it was so perfect the way these assholes think that they're making it about them when it's them. They're the problem. So I really liked that, and I kind of wanted to see more of that play out than like a super villain. You know what I mean? Like, this guy, he has technology and whatever, but he's just a regular guy that hates them, that hates mutants.
Yeah, a bigot.
He's just an asshole. So I kind of wanted to see more of that, but I still enjoy the Bastion stuff.
When they were doing this, I didn't think that... I thought it was going to be like the original series where, they'll have like an overarching, I guess, theme, but it would just be like a day in the life of the X-Men, them just fighting, you know, a villain, not a serialized plot. But I think everyone that's come out has been good, and that them bringing back everybody, like Guy Rick or whatever. Like he was in jail. They brought him back. They ended his story. Like that's cool. Tim Curry or Mr. Sinister if he was a mutant. He's been great. He's a really good villain. He's not something I expected in X-Men. Like he's very, I don't know. Like he's super serious. To the point where he seems like he belongs in something else. Like he seems more like a DC villain or something. Like I don't know, like a Lex Luthor type. But he's just really good because he's really different. He's a monster. Like he's a menace. He's not someone to be fooled around with.
Yeah.
And has like serial killer like tendencies. He puts on some old music before he starts torturing people. Like that's
Purple
crazy.
people eater. Yeah, like I think we're used to the X-Men character voices. Like when we hear the voice actors, we know them. They slip into the voices well. And then Theo James comes in with Bastion, and he's charismatic, I want to say, because it's like just the way he talks. He has like a rhythm to him, and it's just like yeah, we're gonna destroy these guys. Oh, I'll send a memo, and it's just like
he's almost very rock and roll type. Like,
yeah, like
smooth jazz or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So
Like,
I mean, he does it. I think when the song is out, I think he does.
when he's shaving Magneto, and I was telling Alex, I'm like, when he's like, yeah, don't resist or just comply, and I'm like, that's not he's not only shaving his face.
He did sometimes.
Yeah. The thing I think X-Men has done better than any other cartoon show based on a superhero thing is the adaptations. I think they adapt the comic books in a way that makes it accessible to general audiences, like the Phoenix Saga, the Dark Phoenix Saga. Like I read the comic book versions, and like that is insane amount of issues you got to read, but they were able to break it down in 5 like consecutive episodes. And then with this Bastion thing, you get his whole story in like 30 minutes. Remember that episode of X-Men where they killed Professor Xavier? And they went back in time and Nimrod tried to kill, Professor X. And then they're like, let's build off of that. And they're like, it infects a human. And then that human, makes kissy face with a woman who was also in those episodes. And this is why I love this.
Kissy face.
Consensual. Jeez. Oh, we're just coming after all of you. Operation Zero Tolerance. New audiences can watch this, and then they can go back to the old show and be like, oh, this is when, like, Bastion was created, Professor X explains, like, he could have been one of the original, like, X-Men, the first class. But his mother, who was bigoted, hated mutants, and she didn't want to hear it. So he could have been a good guy if he was able to go to the, Xavier Institute. But then they do have, like, that origin of Bastion where they do the Man of Steel homage, where he can hear all machines. Like, he can hear this microphone in his head. He can hear the clock ticking, like electricity. And
I'm a clock ticker.
yeah. And
top motherfucker.
and you kind of feel for him because he, like, we live in a world dictated. Granted, this show takes place in the 90s, so like cell phones aren't around or tablets, but like the fact that he's surrounded by machinery and he can't stop the ticking, it's almost like you kind of feel for him because he's like, oh, can I be normal? And his mom, even though she a bigoted, bitch, is hates mutants and stuff. It's like she's like, you are normal. I love you, and it's just you kind of feel for him because in a different universe he could have been a good guy, and he could have been a very strong good guy. So no, like I think Bastion, I wouldn't have cared for him in the comic books. He would have just been that weird pink guy in the black jacket. But I think his story, how it was adapted to the show, coupled with Theo James' awesome voice, have made this character great. Guess what? Episode 5 is next?
Yeah.
And boom.
Previously on Los Pina Bros.
Then episode 5 happens, and then this guy, right here.
Yeah.
I think episode 5 is probably my favorite episode of the season. Basically, everything we've seen happen in the world that shows us how bad humanity can get, and you're seeing your favorite comic book characters, cartoon characters, just like bite it, and showing Gambit, who I have told Alex like was a character that I think was stuck in the 90s and didn't really do anything in the comics. for him to be the MVP of that episode, to make me cry in front of my dad.
You're saying that was your favorite episode. Yeah. I think I just want to say, like, my favorite thing about this is that they haven't missed a beat and they've elevated it. And that I'm still connected to all of these characters. Even more so now as an adult and having a child of my own, having to protect my own family, and still feeling like, you know, as far as we've come along, like I was talking to Katrina earlier, and like, it's easier now to be like gay, bi, you know, than it was back then, but you still face so much hatred for it. And this show shows that. It's a cartoon, and, you know, it's fun, you know, to watch it as a kid, like, oh, it's good guys versus bad guys, but as an adult, like, you get all the stuff. It's still also real. So I would say that's my favorite thing about it.
When they're bringing this back, you know, X-Men 97, the show, all the old heads or whatever, like us who grew up with it, like, we're excited for it, but why does anyone else care, you know? But they found a way to make the show for everybody. Like, for the people who are older now, like you said, you know, we have families, and I think they make that such a point in this show, is like, we'll face this as a family. We're a family, sister, you know, they talk to each other as family, which I don't really think was in the old show. It's kind of just like, we go on adventures and we're a team, sure.
It's assumed.
But, yeah, they're more of a team, I think. Whereas in here, they're like sister, family, that they treat each other more as a family. So, you know, as we're older, we get more family and we feel that responsibility, like you said, you know, to protect and stuff. So for the older generation, or for the older people watching it, we're like, oh, that's awesome because they've grown up. We've grown up, they've grown up. The writing has grown up to, like, better help us, and not help us, but, like, it coincides with how we feel now. But it also does so many other things. I mean, like, a bunch of Easter eggs, a bunch of things that you would only catch if you are fans of it. Like, you know, the cartridge coming out in that Jubilee episode of the video game. Only people who played that Sega game would know that. Or, like, catching lines like, when Cyclops gives Cable his costume, and then he's like, what, were you expecting leather? You know, like, that's awesome. James Marsden said that line to Wolverine, and the other one, what were you expecting? Yellow spandex? Like, dude, you got it, and then you put it on the top, like, great. And then, like, when my boy Gambit, which I don't know why you hate, but Gambit's always been awesome. When he dies,
they remember him.
I do! Yeah.
They do the Death of Superman pose, and, like, that's freaking awesome. X-Men 97, I think the best thing about it has been that they learned over the course of not being on air, they learned how to write, adapt, and bring something back to the point where it doesn't feel like a shadow of its former self. It is moving forward with us and showing us that time off can actually be fantastic. And that's something that's incredible to me, because you bring something back from the, like, other remakes or reboots can be complete trash. Just complete
gutter
trash. Yeah, gutter trash. But this is like, nah, we took our time. And we wrote the best freaking thing you'll ever watch. And as Guillermo said, animation is not a genre. No, yeah, it's not just a great animated series. It is a great series, full stop.
Yeah.
You're right. Like, we've progressed as a society forward, but there's still people out there who will fear and hate what they don't understand. Yeah. Now with all technology, and the big villain of this season is technology. You know, the humans don't want to feel left behind and want to evolve or whatever. But, like, being Latino, you know, that's why I think the X-Men have, like, there's a freaking X-Men for, like, every race, you know. And I think that's something that has stuck a chord with us even since we were kids. We knew that if we were different, you know, by the color of our skin or where our parents came from. And the X-Men were like, well, we accept that. And that's great, because that's what we build off of.
You know, Onslaught seems like it's going to be a thing. They put Magneto's helmet on Professor X just to give you more of a little tease, like, oh, maybe he's going to have Onslaught. So, I mean, there's so many things that they can do. I don't know. I'm excited to see any direction they can go.
And I think I just want them to kind of, again, like, take a moment to breathe. I don't know who's giving them. Oh, it needs to be a 24-minute show.
That's what
or
I was
something.
saying. Yeah.
Well, it's not on TV.
Yeah.
What are they doing? So give them the full 30 minutes
There's-
or 40 or.
That's what I was saying. Make 40-minute episode.
I know a lot of people don't like Onslaught. I've always remembered enjoying Onslaught. Age of Apocalypse. I feel like they can do anything.
I mean, they could even fix some of the stuff.
I mean,
that
that's
people
what
yeah,
they've been
a
doing,
better
yeah.
adaptation, and there's a bigger universe out there because I didn't expect to see Captain America in here or Hulk
Spider-Man.
or Spider-Man, and so it's like Avengers versus X-Men
Baron
seems
Zemo.
possible.
Buzzing in my ear, bub.
Feige, you and your people are knocking out of the park with this. DeMayo,
Yeah, Feige's like, thank God.
I
Something's
needed
working.
to win.
He said. I think he said that recently. He's like, it doesn't take. You'd have to be living under a rock to know that the last couple of Marvel movies did not work, and like they're building up X-Men.
Marvel.
Yeah, all three of them.
Jeez, well, they don't know how to. They don't know how to write Captain Marvel.
All right.
Like,
well,
but anyway, I just want everybody to give off a signature X-Men line or something. I don't know.
Yep.
Yep. Okay.
That's it.
Los Piña Bros.
Remember it. See you later, bub.